Why are EGL fashion events so expensive? Let's talk about it. If you've only ever attended events, you may not be aware of all of the costs associated with hosting an event. Let's say you want to do something simple, like a swap meet. Doesn't require any kind of specialized equipment or special location. Be surprised at how expensive venues are. Let's say that you want to have it for 2 hours. Make sure you have at least half an hour on either end of the event to set up and tear down the event. And maybe the venue doesn't come with anything. Maybe there's not tables or chairs or anything like that. Do you want to ask your attendees to supply them? Are you going to supply them yourself? Maybe you have to rent those from the venue. These costs start to add up. On top of that, your venue may have requirements for insurance or a security guard or being open after hours. And all of these start to become extra expenses that you're responsible for. As soon as money starts changing hands, as soon as you tell people that you're hosting a swap meet or something like that, will start charging even more because you're selling something, you're making a profit. Now, let's say you want to have something like a tea party. Once you start having over 10 attendees or 10 guests, you start to have automatic gratuity at 20 or 22% added into the total cost. Sometimes venues will require a setup fee for larger groups of 20 to 50. You may also have venues that require minimum food and beverage, so suddenly you're looking at an even larger bill. And of course, all of this goes up exponentially if you start talking about places that are aesthetic or beautiful, because often those are rented out as wedding venues, so you're competing with an industry that's even more expensive. Now, certainly, there are free or low-cost venues that are available. And if you have access to those, definitely speak up in your community, because having access to something like an apartment complex with a meeting room is really helpful if you're trying to do these low-cost events. But it also shouldn't be the responsibility of people who host events to shoulder the burden of just paying for the venue themselves. That's a really good way to burn out in your community, because maybe this time it's only $100, but if you do that 3 or 4 times over the course of a year, that starts to add up. So I think it's really important that your community has events at all price points, from free to really fancy tea parties. If you see an event that's out of your budget, just try to remember the event coordinator is not trying to rip you off. They're trying to make back the cost of an event that they don't want to have to be responsible for themselves.